Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Back on the David Pakman Show, a couple of new David Pakman Show members of the week that I'd like to say hello to. Mark Schenkel, as well as Adrian Schmidt, new members of the David Pakman Show family, so to speak. And, you know, I have a special feeling, Lewis, about Mark and Adrian. I think they'll be picking up the new David Pakman Show t-shirts at davidpakman.com/gear, don't you think? Because you know what? If they were only made of recycled cotton scraps, I don't think Mark and Adrian would care. But because the shirts are also made out of recycled plastic bottles, I mean, can you imagine that? They're going to be interested.
Just in general, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that if you don't own a David Pakman Show t-shirt, you're not hip, you're not cool.
Lewis, very, very argumentative here with the audience, and even throwing out insults. I don't subscribe to that.
You got to get with the times and just get a t-shirt.
Is your David Pakman Show shirt too big or too small? I can't tell.
Feels just right.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there it is. Hey, you know, I was thinking about there's this law. When I was in Argentina on vacation visiting family, there were elections for there were a couple of different elections that took place, and there are no alcohol sales at stores or bars 48 hours before the elections. And I started wondering what would happen in the United States if 48 hours before there was a presidential election, so it's typically Tuesday morning that they start, if as of Sunday morning until polls close, there are no alcohol sales at bars or grocery stores or package stores or anywhere else. And Natan actually did some research into this. TV director Natan is actually back now, and he found out that there is somewhat of a no drinking law in some states. Explain, Natan, what it is that you found out on this issue, that there actually are some of these laws in place.
Well, apparently in some states like Alaska, Utah, parts of Texas, and even Massachusetts, actually.
Not surprising about Utah, yeah.
On election day, alcohol is prohibited from being sold until after the polls close.
Right.
So mostly conservative states, except for Massachusetts.
Right. Now imagine if we extended this further, Lewis, and we actually said 48 hours before polls close, there are absolute, and I get it, people could still have alcohol purchased previously that they could drink at, but it would still significantly change the demeanor of the entire thing.
Hold on. This is just package stores we're talking about, right? Restaurants and bars still are serving alcohol.
No, restaurants and bars are not serving alcohol. Isn't that right, Natan?
That is correct.
Right. Absolutely
Wow.
nowhere.
Okay.
Who does this help? Does no alcohol 48 hours before elections help Democrats, or does it help Republicans? What do you think, Lewis?
I don't think it helps anybody.
You don't think it makes any difference?
No.
First off, in Argentina, voting is mandatory. In the U.S., would it affect voter turnout if there was no drinking for 48 hours before elections?
I don't think so.
I think it positively affects turnout.
I think you have to factor in that it happens on a Tuesday also.
Yeah.
And when do people do the majority of their drinking?
Weekends.
Friday, Saturday night. So
Okay.
this wouldn't really be in that time period.
I disagree. What do you think, Natan? I think no drinking for 48 hours before elections. And I know when I say no drinking, if people already have alcohol that they own, they could drink it. But no bars, no package stores, no restaurants, etc. Does it affect voter turnout, and does it help Democrats or Republicans?
Voter turnout seems to be common sense, like you were saying, except for the fact, like Lewis is saying, that...
Why can we barely hear Natan?
His volume's maxed out.
He's
Not
20
my fault.
feet away. We can barely hear the guy.
You need to talk louder and get closer to the mic.
Oh,
Natan.
I'm close to the mic.
No, there you
that's
go.
much better.
Now-
Ladies and gentlemen,
yeah.
now we're talking.
Oh, that's much better.
Okay.
What I would say is that the only situation I can think of, like psychologically, where it would benefit a certain party is if the reason why someone is voting sober for a certain candidate or party is because of guilt. And when if you drink alcohol, a moderate to heavy amount, it'll reduce your moral opinions on certain things. That's been proven to be true. So if, like, for example, if you feel less guilty about voting for a certain candidate or a certain policy, then that might change your opinion. But it's hard to believe that, you know, if you're drinking alcohol, you're going to change your vote, because that's probably been predetermined beforehand.
Yeah, I've never met anyone so torn between two candidates that would ever happen.
I'm going to make the following argument. I believe that if people were not drinking at all, most people it won't affect, I understand. But there will be some people, the cross-section of people that is both a last-minute decider on who they're going to vote for and heavy drinkers, okay? And these people do exist, right? This is not a made-up cross-section. Mm-hmm. It would help Democrats because there will be people who will think that they want to vote for a Democrat because they want to make the vote that is for the people. They don't want to make the selfish vote. For example, people who would only vote for Republicans out of personal tax-related self-interest, okay? If they drink, they will be disinhibited and won't care that they're making a completely selfish vote. Take the drinking out of it, they will realize the Republican vote would be selfish. The vote for the people is for the Democrat. It will help Democrats if there's no drinking for 48 hours.
Yeah, but you're making huge generalizations here, and I think it could go either way. I mean, you could have someone who thinks the exact opposite, who says, oh, okay, I am going to vote for the people because that's the right thing to do, even though I make a lot of money. But then you get drunk and then you think, oh, well.
Not based on what Natan cited has been proven, which is how the drinking will affect your moral points of view. But you know what? Let's see what the audience has to say. Email me, david@davidpakman.com. Of course, now lewis@davidpakman.com. Lewis getting a barrage of email, everything from propositions from men and women to opinions about Lewis's views on morality.
And lots of spam junk mail from political candidates.
There we go.